Person say Jamaica is expensive. Jamaica is as expensive as you want to make it, okay? Because when I was living in Florida, if I decided to go over to Publix, and you know, versus here I went to Progressive in Montego Bay when I first got here, I would go ahead and say I probably would have spent at least another additional $50 on top of the stuff that I got. Now, mind you, I did get a lot of Jamaican branded products, which I would recommend. Greetings, and especially all my new family members. Welcome to the channel. It is definitely an honor and a pleasure to have all of you here. I want to thank you guys so much. Number one, for supporting the channel. Definitely appreciate it. So I've had a lot of persons reach out to me on Instagram and some in the comments saying, you know, it's something I want to do. I want to migrate either back to Jamaica or I want to go to Jamaica as an expat, and you know, I'm not sure how much it's going to cost and so on and so forth. So I wanted to go ahead and make a quick video of my PVO of how much I went ahead and spent to make this journey happen. So I will have to go ahead and say I have been planning this journey for about 5 years. Actually, during the pandemic, if you guys remember, I went ahead and was planning that from then. Now, I will have to go ahead and say my situation is obviously going to be probably a lot different from your situation. I am not married. I do not have any children. I really don't have too many ties to the United States like that anymore, especially after I sold my house years ago and everything. So I really don't have anything that's anchoring me there. So it was a lot easier for me to go ahead and pack up my things in 4 literally suitcases. I'll go ahead and put the picture up on the screen. As you guys can see, I'm pack up my things and put them in a 4 suitcase and come to Jamaica. Person may have something that is more important to them than it is to me, and vice versa. So I will have you keep that in mind as I'm explaining this, but I just wanted to go ahead and share with you guys a couple of different things that are required for you to have, and then also have an understanding of what your estimated cost may be. So the total that I went ahead and spent minus a few things was $6,504.42 USD. Okay, so that's a little bit over 1 million Jamaican dollars that I went ahead and used to get here, and also pretty much get myself right for at least the first couple of weeks with grocery shopping, transportation, and so on and so forth. So I'll break down the cost a little bit as well too. So my dwelling that I am in right now, that I am so grateful to have, because my realtor experience, look out for another video for that is going to come out soon, and the reason why I chose Jamaica and decided to come back after so many years. Just to put it into context, I left Jamaica when I was 11 years old, but I've always did back and forth every year between holidays when I was a child. So I literally have never lived in Jamaica as an adult, or really has been here as an adult much. The last time I've been to Jamaica was back in 2014. So that was a long time, right? So a lot of things have changed, obviously, and you know, I'm living on my own and so on and so forth. So my dwelling was a whopping $3,600 US, and that was for my first month's rent, last month's rent, and a 1 month security deposit. And I went ahead and I said to myself, because my remote job does not start until another couple weeks from when I first got here, I am going to be responsible and have July's rent already, and it is my birthday month, so I just said, let me go ahead and get it out of the way. So I put an extra total for that, and my rent is $1,200 US, which is around 190,000 Jamaican dollars. I know some of you guys in the comments when I said, no, some are not paying the price there. It is all right. Again, what may be important to you is not vice versa. So for me, I wanted a nice community that had certain amenities, and also not necessarily the gated part coming afraid, but at the same time, I wanted to ensure that there is some type of safety precautions in place, like not just anybody can come in here, right? So there was that. And then my other expenses were around $1,500, and that was for suitcases. I bought a new computer. I had to get a community access card. And my first shopping trip, which I was so excited about, I was able to get 4 like decent sized boxes of groceries for under $100 US. It was around 87 US dollars, which is around 13,000 and change Jamaican. And I was excited. I was ecstatic. And you know, a lot of persons say Jamaica is expensive. Jamaica is as expensive as you want to make it, okay? Because when I was living in Florida, if I decided to go over to Publix, and you know, versus here, I went to Progressive in Montego Bay when I first got here, I would go ahead and say I probably would have spent at least another additional $50 on top of the stuff that I got. Now, mind you, I did get a lot of Jamaican branded products, which I would recommend. You know, there are some things like cornflakes. You know, I don't really care for the cornflakes here in Jamaica. I preferred to have, you know, say for instance, Frosted Flakes, right? So that one was 1,000 and something Jamaican versus the 400 and something odd dollar that it would have cost me to go ahead and just get it, you know, the cornflake brand here in Jamaica. But you know, you just kind of have to pick and choose. But I'm telling you, in the store, you would definitely see the price difference, and you're gonna be like, wow. But you have to remember, you know, it is an island. You're having things shipped in, so on and so forth. So I originally planned around 10,000 US dollars for this move, but to not even use, you know, the total amount of that was amazing. So I will have to go ahead and say like the whole 90-day thing and then extend my stay and so on and so forth, because I do need to travel obviously back and forth anyway, so that's fine until this migration period is completely finished. So there was $193 for a plane ticket that I went ahead and purchased, because you need to have that ticket before you can even board the plane. So all of my expats that are planning to come to Jamaica and you are looking to go ahead and, you know, do the back and forth thing, just know that you're going to need a return ticket. You cannot go ahead and board your flight to come to Jamaica until you have that done, as of the recording of this video in 2026. And also as well, I will have to go ahead and say transportation can be pretty expensive. I paid 80 US dollars is what the price I was told from Montego Bay's airport. Also, though, I had 2 stops. We went to go get some food and we stopped at Progressive and then to my destination here in Lucy. I went ahead and throw in an extra tip of 10 US dollars. So that was that. And then my day of travel, unfortunately, I had to spend 500 US dollars on the bags. So one of the bags was overweight. Then give me a bly. And let me go ahead and bring another bag that was 1.5 pounds overweight. She said, don't worry about it. You're already spending so much money. So I appreciated that. And on top of that, guys, I will have to go ahead and say that we have a little community grocery store and a little restaurant on the property, which I am so happy about, because I don't have no drive. Don't have no vehicle right now. A vehicle is coming next year. I'm not even gonna try to get one this year because I want to import one from the States, and that is something that I need to plan ahead for and make sure I have the money for it, of course. So, you know, I will have to say, like, again, everybody's situation is going to be different. If you have children, you have a significant other, so on and so forth, that is definitely going to obviously change the cost. However, though, I wanted this to be as cost effective as possible because it is just me. And I also wanted to kind of take a semi-vacation. So for the past 2 weeks, today makes 2 weeks since I've actually been here, I have been able to kind of relax, work on making some content and make some connections and things like that, because I am a barber by trade and I would like to cut hair as well as a side income like I was doing in the States. I mean, honestly, it was kind of like my main income, but some of you guys that are OGs know that I have been in the dental field for over 14 years, and no, I do not plan to do dentistry here in Jamaica.
Said what I said.
As much as I love it, but I will volunteer and do mission trips and so on and so forth. However, though, you know, the first question I would ask yourself is, what is your comfort level if you are planning to leave the States and come to Jamaica? What are the thing, you know, like literally write down a list like I did. I wrote down my things that are non-negotiable, and I also wrote down things that I could go ahead and maybe loosen up on. Like, air conditioning was needed. But then again, honestly, these days there's air conditioning pretty much like in every dwelling here in Jamaica. However, we do have Jamaica Public Service that will go ahead and put you in check real quick and when you start running that AC. Because I heard the other day from another person that on live, I was on TikTok, they pay 400 US dollars a month for their JPS bill, and it wasn't even my bill and I was filling it. So I really got lucky. That's why I said this was a God bless dwelling, because I literally have solar panels on top of the roof, and there's also a battery pack that's in there that I've tested for the last week and a half since I've been here. I am able to run the air conditioning during the day when it's sunny and bright out, and it's not pulling anything really from the grid at all. Maybe a little bit here and there, but literally to none most of the time. So the sun is cooling in here, but I only have one unit running at a time, which is the main one behind me here that you guys see in the background. Also, another thing, this dwelling came furnished. So for the 1,200 US dollars, I will have to go ahead and say it's not a bad price at all versus the almost 2,000 US dollars I was spending a month for my one bedroom, and I have two bedrooms now and two bathrooms. I have a backyard, a front porch, and everything. So you get a little bit more bang for your buck here in Jamaica in some parts. However, though, I am a little bit on the rural side in Lucy. But this is the same parish I grew up in, so I just felt it was right to live in the same parish that I grew up in. And I will have to say it's nice. The community is very nice. All the persons are very nice. The ones that I do see, a lot of persons and stuff like that, they either kind of keep to themselves, but there's a lot of Airbnbs and things like that, short-term rentals in this community as well. So there's that. But, like other miscellaneous things like my suitcases, I went ahead and got some hygiene products, which I will go ahead and say, get your hygiene products, especially your favorite ones, a few months of supply, because you're going to be in for it. Like, say, for instance, the same item costs $5 US in the States. It may run you another $5 to $6 on top of that, because it is being imported and so on and so forth. So those are things to keep an eye out for. And just make sure you have your pocket money and things like that, like I did. I made sure I had a few $100 US broken up into smaller bills, $20 bills, to be able to easily know the conversion. Like, most places will give you either between 140 to 150-ish per $1 right now. So, knowing your exchange rate, asking questions before you make certain purchases is going to make your life a lot easier. I'm not going to lie and say that they may not tax you because you don't have a Jamaican accent, or, but even then, even if you have the accent, if you're not speaking directly like them, the Manande patois, they might catch on to it, and, they just know. But I just have to look at it from a point of view of, as long as you understand the exchange rate and you know your prices of certain items, it's kind of hard for them to really do that, as long as you're paying attention. And don't be afraid to question it. I don't. I don't really have that issue so far, but I wouldn't go ahead and allow somebody to go ahead and try to overcharge me for something that, But mainly, really and truly, the most expensive part was, paying my upfront moving costs in, but I was able to literally just move right in, right? Now, the realtor experience is a whole different experience, and I will go ahead and share that with you guys in a separate video because it was interesting. But overall, I would go ahead and say, for a single individual, if you're planning on moving, I would give yourself, a roundabout cushion of around what I said, maybe about 10,000 US dollars. Honestly, just so you're comfortable, you're able to get your space, you're able to, kind of relax, because diving right back into work, when I got here, especially sitting on a computer, because I'm transitioning from moving around all day to sitting down on a computer, is a big transition. So I wanted to give myself a little bit of a break and able to work on the content for you guys as well. So that being said, I hope this video was informative as much as possible. and showing the images and things like that on the screen. I definitely appreciate every single one of you guys. If you guys have any content ideas or want to see certain type of videos or have certain questions, please go ahead and leave them down below. I do not mind to go ahead and curate some more content based off of that. Again, I really appreciate you guys. Bless up, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Know it gets better, even in the rain, you gotta keep your head up.